today on the stream, we're going to check out all of the new fun fall decor that was supposed to be in the shop that they walked back on, and we're going to be able to purchase it with coupons, which is fantastic because how much shop items do we need when everything super cool winds up on the shop? Um, so I wanted to show where the items were. It was counterintuitive to me. They're actually located in the little um, tunnel areas and the little caves for the opposite faction. So on the Horde side, it's going to be over on the map over here where you'll pick up all your Alliance stuff. And when you come in, you're going to notice some new vendors here. The first one on the left-hand side is the one that's going to sell all the blueprints that are opposite factions. So here it's going to be all of the Alliance items as well as the facade for the barn. You can pick up here with Fen. And then the Fall Decor, they call it procurement specialist here, is going to be the one that sells all of the new fall decor items. Hey Pickles, how's it going? So I purchased a whole bunch of them earlier today already. So I'm just going to port back to the house so that I can start placing them and show you what they look like. They're actually all really fairly fun, and they have a lot of dye options, a lot of customization. Actually, I think this is going to port me to the wrong place, but we'll see where it puts me. I think it dropped me in Silvermoon, but that's okay. We can use it to go back. But I was really excited to see that these weren't going to be shop items because they have dyeable vines, and I need that in my life. And I was like, man, how much are they going to sell that for in Hearthsteel? I'm going to be putting some NPC's children through college or buying him a boat for the amount of those that I would want to buy. We're just going to port back. It'll take a second and we can get started. I still think we're going to wind up seeing all of the summertime items that they identified as shop wind up be the ones in the shop. Yeah, it really was. Aside from being able to buy them from gold on a vendor, I think coupons were great. A lot of people have a ton of excess coupons that they didn't really know what to do with. The exterior facades that are going to be like the tree houses that you can put on the exterior of the house is going to be 200 each, and then all of the rest of these were like 10 to 30, which was really kind of amazing. So this first one is the nighttime window, and just for an idea of what its size would be, I don't have a banana for scale, so we're going to have to use the dwarf. But it's like your normal window. These will have proximity. All of the windows do. So just to give you an idea of how close you can place it to some other light, it actually has a pretty large proximity for just being a window. I feel like that's like a little out of touch, but that is currently how it's designed. So you really wouldn't be able to let me grab another window. Oh, I have the daytime one. So you're not going to be able to put them like super close to each other. Maybe you would get two of them like on the side of a house at this scale, and frankly you probably wouldn't want to make it much smaller if you were going to use it on the exterior. I think they're probably more interior type windows, but just so you're aware, they do have some level of proximity if you were going to place them on the outside. Yeah, that's the worst. Like, I really don't understand why windows that put off such only really a tiny bit of light when you compare it to other things have such a massive proximity. And if we make them larger, I was going to blow this up to show what it looks like, and I can't put them that way or that one. It'll tweak out. But I liked that these were kind of see-through from like if you put it this way, you'd be able to see through if you built something on the other side, how you wanted to place them. But I guess really with the design of them, this would probably be the thing facing interior, but it does get a lot bigger. So if you were compelled to have really large windows, again, dwarf for scale because we don't have bananas, it does get really large. The nice thing about these is that they have 3 color channels, so you can really you could make it a little scary. It does kind of look like a face. But you could make them pretty much any color you want. You have the wood as one color, and then the trim is going to be a secondary color, and then lastly, the curtain will change based on the third color. I think that's nicely designed because you have the option to really customize it a couple of different ways. Not really a fan of the curtain. Personally, I think this would have been a fun window if it was just the stained glass through and through. Um, I will show the other one, even though it's going to be basically the same. The light source of this one's different. The other one was nighttime. This is day. You can actually kind of see it a little bit if you look at the ground or through it. Like this is a more golden light, where the other one was your typical black or blue. I'm sorry, the blue light that they have in a lot of the decor that are windows. Yeah, these would be really cool um, kitchen windows for sure. Like behind, but to put behind a sink. And the color pathways are going to work the same on this as the other one. If you wanted purple and gray, I don't know, blue. I did like that this side dies as well. So whatever you use for your trim, it'll turn on this side as well. So if you wanted green or pink or yellow, whatever it is, the window trim also will change color. So I did think that was designed nice. And actually, I guess the rod is controlled by that too. Oh yeah, look at that. So whatever you put your frame color to is going to also change um, the rod holding up the curtain. So I thought those were fun for sure. You want pink? Let's see if we do it all pink. We have, I think this one's the super, oh, that one's like your pretty pink. And then you have your petal pink, which is like a more baby kind of pink color. I think that was the only two pinks they added, but this one's kind of pinkish. Oh, the Nether Storm definitely looks pink. So if you wanted an all pretty and pink, this is kind of what you would be looking at with our 3 pinks. And obviously it doesn't really change how the light comes through it, and the kind of stained glass pieces don't change. They're still going to be your blue and yellow, but I liked these 2 windows. I actually was surprised to see 2 of them because initially it was just 1. So somewhere along the way they decided we needed a nighttime and a day. Yeah, of course, no problem. This is super fun. The tractor. This also has proximity, so you're not going to be able to put. I don't think I have. Oh, I do have 2 tractors. You're not going to be able to put 2 tractors next to each other. You're going to have to spread them out a bit. It's a lot better than the windows, even though these are bigger items. And it's 3 proximity points, so it's not just like the tractor is 1. So if you wanted to put, just to make it a little cleaner, because that was a little intense, it's going to be the 3 points here, so that you might. This is not actually working to show that you might clear one but not the other, but just so you know, it is, each candle has its own proximity point. And you cannot do a tractor pull. That would be sad times, or you'd have to space them apart enough to allow for it. So it is its regular size. Again, we're going to use Cordy as our pretty dwarven model. So it's a good size. It does get super large actually. If you wanted to scale it up to 200 for whatever reason that may be, it's your jacked up truck. Somebody's making up for some insecurities, I think, if they use it that large. However, I'm a dwarf, and maybe to me, this is really big, but maybe a Tauren uh, needs something a bit larger. This is also it's completely dyeable. I'm going to make it a little smaller because it's kind of a little wild over here, but give you an idea, we have 3 color channels again for this. We can do, let me move Cordy out of the way so it doesn't block it. If you wanted to do purple, your first color channel is going to give you the wheels and the foundation for the hub here. And then the next one will give you, I guess this isn't a rim. I don't really know. I guess it would be kind of like where your tire is. I don't even know. The whistle thing, your front grill area, the pipe, the bottom of your hub type area there. And the last one is going to be the top of your engine compartment and the roof here. The candles don't change, the things holding them don't change, but you can pretty much change anything. We want it to go all pink again. Um, you know, you could make it your little pink tractor. Um, this one's just fun. I haven't been able to get. I don't know. Let me zoom in here. Oh, there it goes. I can get up there. I get maybe if I make it larger. I don't know if it'll get larger with me on it. Just curious if uh, I'll make myself a little step to get up there. That's what these are good for. These itty bitty stairs, maybe. So I can get in there, but I can't. Let's see if I can't sit in it, but we can get up there. So for whatever that is, it does have a cute little steering wheel and pedals, a little chair that we can't sit on. However, I suppose if we wanted to put a stool in there, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Let's see here. If we wanted to put a stool in there, I know that's a little messy, but we're just, oh, I've got it backwards, but we can, in fact, sit in the back of the tractor. Let me see if I turn it around, if it'll have us looking like we're actually driving it. I'm not sure. Let me zoom in here. And this needs to turn. Oh yeah, look at that. Courtney's driving the tractor. All right. So that's kind of fun and neat. They didn't give you the ability to sit. However, you can certainly add a stool and do that. That's kind of fun. Oh, that is a good idea. You could definitely do that and build out a chair. I mean, I guess this is for some people who really like to build these kind of mechanical things. Maybe you take some elements from it and cover it over, really make it special and the way you would like it instead of kind of more standard. But it definitely has cool wheels and a lot of different fun elements there. And I do think kind of building it where you have a stool in it and you could sit in it would just be fun for people visiting your houses too, you know? Um, the saddle, at 100%, I feel like it's a pretty good size, particularly because the pets are uber tiny. So just for example, if you wanted to place a pet, they're so small. Um, it really surprised me, like kind of how itty bitty they were. I mean, and I know they're small, but I guess when you think about, okay, I want to put, um, something in a barn. People build all these cool things, and you want to put a pet in there to make it look. I think they're under critters. I like here this little guy, the little sheep. Um, so it's tiny comparative to your farm animals. So there would probably be no reason that you would want to make this bigger. However, if you were so compelled to do so, it will get. Well, I grabbed the wrong one of these. It does get super large if you wanted to do that. It is cute. Um, let's just see. This one is neat because there was a color channel that let you adjust the stitching here. So again, this is another one where we're going to get 3 color channels that you can change. The first one is going to be your wooden structure. You can make it whatever makes you happy. And then the next one is your, like, I think those are stirrups, and that also changes. Here, I'll come around because you can see it better on this side from the light, the stitching. So if you wanted blue or black stitching or white, whatever, actually the white is very bright and shows really nicely, but that changes um, the stirrupy part as well as the stitching. And then the last color changes the bottom portion of your saddle. This top part is not if you wanted to ride an elephant. Yeah, I suppose that at 200%, you could definitely use that saddle on some ginormous animals. But I do think this one was made really nicely in with respect to the fact that the stitching changes the bottom part of your saddle and the wooden area. So this is another one that I thought really was designed nicely, particularly for people who built these beautiful barns and want to get in there and add some additional pieces. We have a fun picnic table. We've got Cordy and we now have a sheep for scale. But this is probably like a nice dwarvenish size right now at 100%. Yeah, they really have, with a lot of these pieces, done a nice job. Gonna make it bigger just because, we do have the Torin and other really large. Oh, by the way, they changed this. You used to be able to collide with items. Now it pushes you away. So you have to like adjust yourself before you want to build something where you wind up like on top of it. And definitely not dwarven sized here at 200%, but nonetheless, if you wanted to, you could have a super large table. This is another one that doesn't have seating built into it. So if you wanted to add that, you would have to shrink in your own itty bitty stool. Although, depending on, oh, this should get small enough at the largest size to hide in there. Yeah, super tiny. But if you did that and you wanted to sit at the table, I guess I'd have to push it a little further down because it's funny that way, but you could do that way. but it's not going to automatically come with the ability to click on it and sit like they do with some of the sofas and other items. This guy also has three color pathways. So you have your wooden table. This one I found hysterical when I was trying to figure it out this morning. I must have picked two colors that were similar and it was driving me crazy trying to figure out what it was going to change. But somebody decided that we need the ability to change these itty bitty tiny nail holes. I guess maybe that's important to someone, but I did think that was funny because I had picked colors that were similar and I couldn't figure out what it was changing at first. So you have the table, the wooden table, your nails are going to be separate, and then the last one is going to be your tablecloth or blanket or whatever you want to call it. And this is just going to change to be like one color and it'll kind of on its own change the stripe. So another nice piece, although it was funny to me how they, felt the need to make those have a colorway. They really did do a good job with most of these. I have to. Oh, the teeny tiny stool is. Oh, there it goes. You get rid of that guy too. This is super pretty. Also, this is the. I kind of thought of it as like a mobile or a dream catcher. They call this one the Westfall Harvest Lamp. This is another one that if you wanted to place it outside, you were going to have a proximity kind of situation because it is a light source. So here's our 100% QWERTY sized light, and then at 200%, it does get a bit longer and larger. I really like this one. I think it's super pretty. You've got the leaves and their little acorns and other little dangly things here. I did find it funny too because I was like, all right, well, can you walk through it? So it's actually solid. You have to go up like a fair bit to be able to get underneath it. So if you go to place this in your house, it's going to need to be high enough up that you could pass beneath it as opposed to running into it. And this one has only two color sources. One of them is going to be this top area, which is the first one. And then the second will be, it doesn't change the pine cones or the leaves actually. It's going to change the little dangle here. So if we made that one blue just to help you see it, you've got your first color is going to give you these little beads, I guess. And the second color is essentially the strings that hold it all together. But this one's a lot of fun just from all the different sides. And just to give you an idea on proximity, not, if you did want to place one outside on a porch or something, you're dealing with a decent sized amount of proximity between two light sources. It does look nice. That is a pretty one too. I've got this sorted. I go back. The shed. The shed is a lot of fun too. Um, as it is at 100%, I could fit through here. However, I'm not so sure that a larger character would get through the door. Oh, fix the camera. So it's got some space in here. You definitely could build out a bit if you wanted. It's got the little windows on this side as well. It does get a lot larger if you wanted to increase the footprint. This one is substantially larger at 200%. Try to zoom out. So it gets tall because this is essentially the size of my hoard house covered over in here, and it's getting close to kind of meeting that height. So it definitely gets super tall, and then obviously it'll give you a smidgen more information of room in here if you wanted to actually build out a little shed or a barn. Um, you'd have to build a pretty massively sized door if you want if you wanted to keep it that large and put a door on it. Um, but you certainly could. This one comes with three colorways as well. So you've got the first one that's going to be your wooden structure. The second one I think is the roof. Oh no, it's the windows. So you have the window frame, and the last one gets to be the roof. And this one also on the inside, the window frames on the inside turn color too. So whatever you set for out here will set up the interior for you as well on the kind of colors you'll have to coordinate with. Oh, I could totally see this in some darker colors. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to see the super dark colors. So they did um do this one. They did decide that with the people complaining that black wasn't a true black, they added in the darker version of black, which is considerable. So if you wanted to go with spooky or dark colors, you would definitely be able to um, make something a little creepy if you wanted. It already has like a little bit of that rustic feel. I could definitely see that in a graveyard. You were hoping we would get bigger plot. It would be nice if they gave a bigger plot. I've seen a lot of discussions regarding that on some of the PTR groups that I'm in, or some of the developers are in as well. So I think they're seeing that request. Even the larger houses, if you think about it, um, are just really going to be massive on the plots. Like most of you have seen what the medium house looks like. I don't have the large house unlocked on PTR, so I can't show you, but it literally almost takes up the entire plot. I did um, take some photos from another account where someone had it unlocked to show, and I did post those, but they're pretty massive. You definitely don't get a lot of plot space if you choose to use one of those homes. So yeah, there is a lot of cool stuff they're adding, but you do have to fit it on our smaller shaped lots here. A cider shack's adorable. I could totally see that. You could build like a little counter. Um, and we do have the cider. There is a cider decor piece as well. For a moonshine shack, you can totally build a still in here and get your little distillery going. But this is another one that I thought they did a super nice job on that has a lot of potential to be a lot of different things. The vines. I live for the vines. So I wouldn't go bigger than I don't go bigger than small because I like to have the yard space. And particularly I'm not a huge fan of the hoard houses, so I try to cover them. So it would make it a lot harder for me to do that within the budget. So this is our really cool dyeable vines. This is it at 100%, which I think is a nice size. Let's do this backwards. Clicking the wrong button. So that's it at 100%, and it does go a lot larger actually, which is great. If you wanted to cover over a larger space, you definitely could do that. This is awesome. It only has one color um, option, but you can really make very cool vines if you wanted, like the red leaves, if you wanted to go more fall and you wanted some of the orange color, or the yellows. They've done a really fantastic job on these, and I'm here for it. I love these. I'm definitely going to be spending probably more coupons than I should on this. This is going to be fantastic, whether you use it literally as a vine or you want to place it, down flat. If you wanted to do something like that and then have flowers above it or some trees or just, as ground. Grab the wrong one. I'm grabbing the wrong one. Is it you? Are you going to go flat? No, you'll go part way, but then this one will. And I'm on the struggle bus today. Hold on. Replace it. There we go. Just didn't want to cooperate with me. But if you wanted to use it, flat on the ground with flowers mixed in, or however you want to do it, just the ability to have all of those different colors, whether you have a tree and you want to make it look like a dead tree or a tree that's lost its branch, its leaves for the fall. I just think these have a lot of potential, and I'm glad that it's not earth steel because I would spend an absurd amount of money on that. I didn't know the mage class hall had vines or flowers of that way. I did level a mage through Legion just because I wanted the books. Do you know what it's called? Their version of the vine? You could definitely do that. It's definitely gonna be a coupon thing, but I'm happy that it's coupons and not um, real money because even if they're 10 cents each and you bought a handful of them over and over for various builds, you get into that situation where um, it all adds up eventually. So I'm totally happy that they wanted to put these out um, in this fashion where you can just earn your coupons instead of having to use actual dollars and cents for it. But these are definitely a ton of fun. I'm here for them 100%. I will do fun and silly things with them and use them more than probably anybody should. But the potential is there to do a lot of fun fall things or just use them as normal flower, in your normal flowers, as normal vines. Um, I love this. This is probably one of my favorite things. And we get to our corn stalk. Of all of the decor, I am probably, oh, it would definitely make good. I could definitely see that making really nice um, terrain. If you stack them up or you angle them, you could definitely do a lot with that. I'm probably most disappointed in the corn because I was hoping that we'd be able to make them really cool for fall. This is them at 100%. Still totally, probably not doable for um, if you were going for the, oh my God, this song. If you were going for the corn maze, because you got some tall characters, and this is kind of like dwarven size. Oh, but they do get really large. This is probably better for a corn maze if you wanted to do something like that. But you only get one color channel with this, and unfortunately, it's not the corn, right? So it's only going to change the color of the stalk, which isn't as exciting to me as the thought that I was going to be able to change the corn kernels, whether it had, like, I feel like if this had two colors and they left the greenery alone and you were able to make the corn two colors, like an orange or a yellow or something like that, that this would be a lot more useful to me. I do think that this can probably make, I guess not so much from the top, actually, now that I see it, but I was wondering if it would make decent looking bamboo or other kind of you know, tree-like things, but I guess not so much from the top of that. But I guess you could use this as more holiday decor if you wanted to, you know, do some kind of corn stalk. Can't make, no, you can't. But unfortunately, you can't make any kind of fun tortilla chips because you're only going to have the one color. So I was mostly disappointed with those. However, I do think they're super easy to use if you wanted to line a bunch of them up and lay out a maze. They kind of are the shape that they'll snap together, which is nice. Again, if you were going to do that and you had some tall characters, you probably need to increase the size a bit. But yeah, you could totally finagle that a little bit probably for a cornstalk bundle in front of your house or by a mailbox. Maybe if you hit it back a little bit if it was for a mailbox. Oh, this is the wrong house because I don't have a nice mailbox here. But you can definitely make it more like, hide some of it if you were just going for bundles that you just wanted a little piece shown. So I definitely will probably be that person that buys a bunch of these and makes a corn maze just for the fun of doing it. Um, like I said, that if you did just want to place them, you can kind of snap. They snap kind of in place here a little bit. So I do think it will be easy, and I'm sure we'll see people doing that. But definitely a little disappointed in the design of the corn ones. Indian corn would have been cool, and that's what I had in my mind, the ability to do something like that, and that didn't pan out. The pumpkins. The pumpkins are fun. I like the pumpkins. Um, Here's your pumpkins at 100% with QWERTY for scale. They don't get a ton bigger, but they will get bigger. Compare them here. The color changes only one color for the whole item. So if you were looking to color, like if you thought the stems would stay, they're gonna change too. And each one essentially has its own color pathway. So it's all one. I think these are um, definitely cute. I like how they have them there. Um, I do think it would have been fun if the stock stayed, its own color, but this is going to have a lot of personality. People are going to be able to go in and make them, you know, whatever colors they want to match the decor that they currently have going on or what they see their vision as for some of these. I definitely do like those. I also think these kind of make nice rocks. I was kind of playing around with it to see, like, all right, well, what does this look like upside down? Because I like to do that. And if you sink them in the ground, I could see these like in. You want me to make them 20%? Sure. They're super tiny. But I suppose if you wanted to put them, yeah, um, they are super tiny at 20. I could report it And note that it's true, it would make more sense if the stalks didn't change color, but the corn did. Um, but I did like these two. I could see this in somebody's garden if you wanted to have some stones, or even, I guess even this could technically be like a more organic thing, but I thought these, it was nice, kind of upside down. So if you have a bunch of them and you get through the holiday season and you're like, what am I going to do with all of these that I bought? You could definitely flip them upside down and utilize them different ways. I don't know if these, I guess they do kind of look like mushrooms if you know about how small. Yeah, you can definitely do something fun like that if you wanted to use them as a mushroom as opposed to a pumpkin later down the line. You know, if you had that kind of build. These are versatile. I do like them, even though I feel like this part of the pumpkin probably should have had its, either stayed the same or had its own color choice. Yeah, the pumpkins I do, and the corn as well. I feel like it's just kind of funny how those were designed to be colored. Here's the apple cider press at 100%. I feel like this is probably a reasonable size for something like this, but it will get much larger if you so wanted it to. This piece up here kind of reminded me of almost like if somebody had a build that had a workshop in it, like a woodworking shop, and you had like a lathe or saws and things like that. I can almost see this as being like one of those vice grip kind of things that you see on workbenches. I don't know. It just reminded me of that. A clamp. There you go. That's what I was thinking when I saw the look of it. It just reminded me of that a lot. I suppose that, you know, this is probably also something that you would use old timey like to mash up your apples, but it made me think that. See, you knew though what I was thinking about. There is no apple, but uh, we would have to make and add our own in there, which it's a job, I suppose, for the. I don't even know if I really have. I might have a bunch of them. I do have a bunch of them because if you wanted to just be quickly without doing a whole lot or getting fancy, you could make oh, apples and toss them in there. At that point, I would probably make like the little orbs, where you put four of these together and make kind of like a ball shape. But you could definitely fill this up. It definitely has the room for that, and it would look more realistic if that were something that someone did with them. I use cushions for like literally almost everything that I want to build that that I need to figure out how to do because they're really versatile, I think. This one also has the three colorways. So some of these I feel like were just designed a lot better with the ability to change their colors. Um, this makes sense to me, having the ability to color that, and then you have your clamp area, and that also matches which I imagine was supposed to be probably a silver color as they had it, the metal that would go around there, and then the last one is going to be your bucket there to catch your cider in. So although this is like a weird one that might not have a ton of use for a lot of people's builds, I could definitely see it being used a bunch of outside of the box ways. 100%, like whether somebody has it as a clamp or, they want to sink this into some kind of workbenchy type area, and now you've got, if you sank this into something and now you have some wheels, like if you were, doing like some pressure thing and now you had these to turn in the event of something catastrophic happening or whatever. like So whether we have a vise, a clamp, or, you know, some valve to release pressure or whatever, I could definitely see this having a bunch of like off-label uses. But I do think that one was designed really nicely too. Most of them I think were designed nicely. The rocking chair is another one that's adorable. This is another one. This one they actually did build so you can sit in it, which is funny because the benches they didn't give that option. Um, but this one I guess is more like a typical chair, so they've given us the option to sit. This is it at 100%. It does get really large for your larger characters if you wanted um, a really large chair. You could certainly have. This reminds me kind of almost of those like comical ones where, you take a photograph in them because they're just so absurdly large. Oh, the camera doesn't want to work. Zoom out and try again. Probably user error. Oh, well, that's because I'm inside the chair. That weird scaling thing happens with that sometimes. There we go. Um, but the chair is really pretty. It also has 3 colorways. You're going to be able to dye the wood of your chair. Then I believe this next one is the blanket. Yeah, you get to dye the squares in your blanket. And then the last one will be the pillow and your leaves. So these two would control your blanket kind of because you've got the one color for the squares and the other color is going to be your leaf pattern here. Actually, I wonder if that changed the stitching on here and I just didn't notice it this morning. Oh, it does. I love that. That's a really nice detail. So whatever you use for the cushion is going to coordinate back with your blanket. So if we wanted pink and blue, this is also going to match the stitching and the blue color. I really like that. I think they did a great job with the rocking chair, and you can sit in it, which I think is lovely. We don't have to try to sink anything in there. The rug is fun too. This is another one of those that I could see as wallpaper or something, to that effect up on someone's walls. It does get much bigger. Your typical rug kind of size here when you scale them really large. But I could definitely see this, standing up as an accent wall or, maybe a backsplash in a kitchen or something like that. This one only has 2 dye colors. So you're going to have the bottom portion and this background area behind your leaves. And then the second one is going to be the frill and your other um, diamond type areas. I think 2 colorways make sense there. I don't feel like it's not enough. I think one would have been kind of sad. So you can definitely coordinate these a bunch of different ways and make it match pretty much any space you might want. Here's your kind of Halloween one, maybe. But the rag is also really well done. The basket of flowers I thought I was going to love. I do think they're lovely and they're pretty this way. This is at our 100%, and they do scale in size nicely up larger. Oh, gotta get out of the way because it won't let me. I love that. I love how so many people take pieces of their real life and kind of build through it. This is definitely the decor for that, if that's the what you love and how your real house is your autumn house. I think that's great. I love the flowers in this. This is the part that makes me kind of sad. It has one colorway, which would have been okay. In my mind, I was envisioning purple flowers and peach and yellows and, you know, sunflowers and just, I don't know, more colored flowers. However, this changes the basket and not the flowers at all. So that is my gripe with this decor item. Yeah, exactly. Like really pretty fall mum colors. And while it does still scream fall, um, in my mind, I was going to be able to sync this into stuff and use pieces of these flowers and other, bouquets or, you know, things of that nature. And while I guess you can still do that with, this orange and yellow colors, you're not going to get to dye those colors purple or, you know, pink or whatever the case may be. So super pretty. Not a big problem in general. I just thought that was kind of sad time that was the only piece that dies. And then lastly, we have the quilt, which is also a fun one for a lot of people who enjoy quilting. This is at 100%, and it will get, I'm going to move out of the way now, a good deal larger, when it increases and doubles in size here. Yeah, at least from my opinion, there are three that I don't like how they die. Other people might have different opinions on it or not feel the same way I do, but those were just like my personal, whatever, my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. This one also has its three color patterns. The first one's going to give you the wood, and it also dyes like, I know this is supposed to be a quilt. Um, they even call it a quilt, but it doesn't really give me quilt vibes when it's more like wood grain here. So that's going to be the first one. And then your second one is going to be essentially your background and the leaf and motif in the middle. And the last one gets to be, I don't know, whatever you call this, coming out from the leaf, the accents, I guess. It is definitely a barn type quilt. It's definitely not something that you're gonna turn into putting on your bed, I don't think. These would make super cool accent tiles too. This motif is definitely something that they are big on, clearly, because this is what is, the autumnal barn. Yeah, that's exactly right. It reminds me a lot. Yeah, ceiling pattern too. If you went with like, your, what do you call those tiles on the ceiling, on the older ceilings? Can't think of their name, but you could definitely do something like that and accent your ceilings with like those silver metal, you know, type tiles that you would see. But this pattern shows up in essentially all of the barns that they have designed. You would need a lot of them for a cool floor or ceiling, black, white, and silver. Yeah, we can do that. I can bring it back and do that. Where'd it go? I guess that's kind of what I picked to some degree here. But if we wanted like more, like you could definitely do the deeper black if you wanted, and more of your traditionally, well, and dark iron. There's your steel color. I never. Oh, storm. There it goes. Storm steel. I could definitely see that. Yeah, tin roof. I was thinking of a tin roof and couldn't think of the word for it. That would be more of like your goldy colors, I guess. But for a floor, I don't know. I could definitely see this, even if you didn't want to buy a whole ton of them, but you did other kind of tile look in a kitchen or a bathroom. I could absolutely see these being accent tiles, floor tiles, ceiling tiles. Um, I don't necessarily see this as something that you're going to make tiny and actually make a quilt on a bed with these pieces, but they're fun. Um, and this is the same pattern that they've carried through for even those artisanal rooms. Have you guys had a chance to see those artisanal rooms? Because I could show you the two barns if you want to see them. Yeah, copper, tin. I definitely see that as all of those. Okay, we'll look at those. But you're gonna see that like this theme that they've got going on completely matches. Like they've done a really great job. Disregard the colors. Apparently on the PTR when you bring over your build, it essentially changes the colorways of everything back to what it is originally, which is no fun. Like my American flag is super sad. My balloons, all of the cakes that I've built have reverted back to their initial pink. Rotation bug is still here, even though they put out a patch to try to deal with that. So it actually looks kind of funny. Um, my lighthouse is super sad. The water actually out here too. So as you can see here, my lighthouse was all bookshelf, and you can tell that clearly now because they're all wooden looking. Um, so anyway, please disregard it. I am not fully colorblind. I know that these things don't look the way they should. I think I have the barn up here. I do. So this is the autumn barn, and I feel like there's that leaf that we see. I personally really love the the red and blue. Oh, today I did this. I got this silver moon broom pet, and I wanted to see like how it actually passed. So that's why I've kind of got a couple things going on here in this room that I use just to stage it. But I do think these are really pretty rooms, both of them. You have your like little step up area with your windows. You can't change anything. Like these are the colors they are. If you really wanted to change a color, you'd have to go in and, whether it's with the new building materials and push it back in here to change it, which would probably be a ton of budget and not really worth it. But that's how you would have to do it, either with that or your square rugs. There's no customizable options in the barn or any of the artisanal rooms, really. It has its little upstairs lofty area. And then this, which doesn't work, which made me laugh too. Like, you can't really use this. The hatch doesn't open. But there is a fun loft that you could build up to if you wanted to up there. It just has the little trap door and it's like empty space. This has your leaf motif on the floor too. The windows are gorgeous. But this is the fall, and like I said, you can kind of see that these rooms really lend themselves. Oh, that's weird. I don't think that's supposed to look like that. I wonder if that's a visual glitch. Definitely not lining up right. I'll have to put in a bug report for that. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I personally like you know, the builds that we've kind of done ourselves a little more than these. Like, yeah, I think they're fun as a backdrop. I'll probably mess around with it, but not use it as a barn. I would probably use it, as a tavern, or some people say it gave off churchy vibes, like something like that. This is the spring one. They look really similar. The motifs are the same, which is why initially when I saw this, I had said that I thought maybe they mislabeled these because this kind of gives me fall vibes too. It's brighter, I guess, in here, so maybe that's one of the things that they feel makes it spring-like, but the layout is absolutely the same. No, it's definitely a massive space. Yeah, it does. A lot of people say they feel like it gives them church vibes, if you wanted to build a big organ up here or, you know, a bunch of church pews. Um, a lot of people say it gives that feel, probably because of this window. It kind of reminds me of like a church window. And you've got your like area up here. You could actually probably build an entire little tiny house in this space if you wanted to kind of get it away from being a barn and build it into something, you know, a little more special that you enjoy. There's definitely a lot of possibilities, you know, just using these as simple backdrop. Now, I mean, some people won't do that, sure. They'll just take it as an easy way to have a beautiful barn, where a lot of people did build their own versions of this that are really special. There's a waterfall decor piece that's coming out that I think will be the shop for where'd it go? I think that one's going to be in the shop for the summer. I guess. Oh, I gotta look in the catalog because I don't have it. Here it goes. But to me, like, I put in a lot of time and effort to build these kinds of water features, and I enjoy building them. So while I love the fact that it has a pool at the bottom and some legitimate running water, I probably would use it maybe as the bottom of something and then build it out myself to make it more like what I want or add to it. And that's kind of how I feel like these barns are to some degree. I agree with you. I'm definitely not going to give up the rooms that I like and appreciate the most. That's why I'm happy for the ability to be able to have the tool where we look at our blueprints and we can save some spaces. That way we're able to still build in something new and not lose all that really special stuff we built before the blueprint. You probably could, well, if you place nothing else other than these, you might be able to place 6 of them. They are 20, or these are 18, I think. I think these are 18 points each. Oh, I'm in the decor preview section. That's why it wouldn't let me look at that. Let's see here. Are you 18 point? Yeah. So the barns are 18 points each. So that'll eat through your budget super fast. Then they have the super large room for each horde, the 2 horde ones and the 2 alliance sides that are 20 points each. So they definitely adds up. Yes, you can share the entire layout of your room if you wanted to your friends. You would get a code for it. So if you went into the housing dashboard and you went to the new blueprint tab, you can do, like, say we wanted to save a room here. We'd have to do it. We would have to go to save blueprint at the top. And then you can do either your full layout, which is interior and exterior, just the interior, just the exterior, or the current room that you're standing in. Oh, 6 fountains? Yeah, you definitely get 6 fountains. They're going to be, I believe, the summertime shop items. So you're going to pay for them with your herd steel probably, but you could definitely have a handful of those fountains. The only caution with saving or sharing your layout with your friends is going to be you can't cross faction your full layout or your exterior only because it won't let you go cross faction on the exterior. So if you did interior only, so long as they had every single room type that you had, you could share it. Um, but if they don't, it's going to fail to load because there's rooms that they don't have that you do, and they don't let you pick rooms. Yeah, if you wanted to. I turn that off because I kind of want to control what people can copy from me and what they can't. Um, but there are the options to do that. I'm not 100% sure if if you can share in that way. I haven't tried it. Um, if you're on an EU server or somebody is, I can share one of my PTR codes and see if it works. But I don't know anyone on a European server to test that with. But this is your new area, so you can pick anyone, no one, or limited. If you limited it, it would be your neighbors, your guild, your friend, or your party. Um, I don't know. I want to be able to say yes for sure you can copy this room or this piece of whatever as opposed to someone just wandering through my house and clicking the export button. But that is an option if someone wanted to do that. So, but that's all of our fun um, fall decor kind of preview. There's a lot of really cool stuff um, that I think is great and that I like a lot. That's there. Definitely some little odds and ends that I would change if I was designing them, but I'm definitely going to buy a bunch of them and use them and try to see what else I can make with them that's not necessarily for the holidays. But overall, I think they did a great job. Yeah, I'm with you there. Because people definitely will say, "Hey, Cordy, I really like this in a room." I've had people say, "Hey, how did you build your bar? I want to do that." But in order to share that, you have to share the entire room, which is okay, but you can't say, I have this in an octagon room and you want it in a square room, or to say, I only want that bar. So that was one of the questions I had um, posed in one of the PTR groups was, is there going, now that we have copy and paste in a way with this import and export, is there going to be an option to group items? you know, because I feel like that is what more people would want than somebody to give you an entire room. They might say, I really like part of that bathroom. I really like that shower stall you built. I really like the patio you built or that sofa, but they might not want your whole room. I guess at that point they'd have to import it or you would have to build it, duplicate it in the room that they want, and then they can kind of finagle it once they import it. I think so too. I agree with you that um, hopefully is something that we'll see in the future. I definitely think the tools in general need a little bit of an overhaul. Um, I don't know why an undo button wasn't something that they implemented just to start with. I mean, I do a lot of mess around and find out, and I can't tell you how many times I accidentally delete something that I didn't mean to, or I want to go back a step or two because I don't like what it's looking like, and it would be great to be able to have that option. So I rally for an undo button, an ability to group objects together. We kit bash a lot of stuff. If you walk through one of my homes, there's a lot of really personalized pieces. I don't often use what they come up with for a couch or what they've labeled a counter. I use all different kinds of things. So um, I think that that would have been a lot more useful to be able to share those little bits with your friends as opposed to having to share an exact room. Even the exteriors, like a part of me gets it, but if somebody built like this, like, okay, this hides a house, it's a waterfall. it's on a horde side. I can't copy that over on my alliance house if I liked it and said, "Oh, I really like that. I want to move it over here. I'd like to give my alliance house some similar kind of waterfall." It fails because you don't have the right, underlying house type. If somebody built a super cool pool on their horde side and your alliance and you're like, "Wow, I really like that," you know, can I copy that, even that piece of it and then delete other stuff or whatever you wanted to do? You couldn't. You're not able to do that with respect to the exterior at all. It is. It is time consuming sometimes. I try to put together how to guides for a lot of the stuff that I build. Um, but it does take a really long time to kind of backtrack and figure out, okay, well, how did I do this and what did I do again here? Or how do I explain this thing? So I completely get that. But it's definitely got a lot of potential. I'm excited for it, but more for even myself. I want to be able to save my house so that I can tear it apart and build new fun things. So for me, it's like I ran out of budget, and this is a way to get more space to build in. Um, but I've gone over 15 minutes. I usually only try to stream for an hour or so at a time. I'm having a really great time talking to you guys. Thanks for joining me, but I don't want to take up um, all of your time. Uh, I hope you enjoyed it and you got to see some of the neat stuff that's coming down the line. Um, between pets and import export, all these cool new decor pieces. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to all of these things, and I feel like I have so much to do in terms of getting ready and doing all those endeavors and getting all those coupons now. Now I feel like I have to hoard them because just the exterior of this, I can't place it because it has failed when we try, but the springtime barns are 200 of those coupons each. So it's going to add up for sure. I would save some of those as you go along so that you have them because the new endeavors are coming too, and they have a lot of really cool decor. So lots of stuff to buy with coupons. Um, thank you guys again. It was a lot of fun. I hope you have a great rest of your evening.